about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-Dr. Dahlia, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So many of you might notice that the cops are going to crack down a little bit more, as they should, on the slow down, move over laws. All 50 states have these because if there are people, shall we say, in an ambulance that need to get to a hospital right away, and your car is dilly-dallying and not moving over for an emergency vehicle to get to where they need to go, you're going to get in trouble. That's why we have slow down and move over, not race and try to outrace the paramedic. Same thing. If there's a cop that needs to get where they need to get to, you move over. If there are crews that are working on the side of the road, you need to obey laws. But apparently we're being told that even though all 50 states have these laws, drivers are not following them. Now, if you live in Nevada, where I live, if there's an emergency vehicle or we are being told to move over, you slow down. If you cannot move over because there's other cars there, you stop so the paramedics can wiggle around you. But if you can move over to the right, you get your ass over to the right. I mean, this is just something you're supposed to do. But sadly, 46 emergency responders were hit and killed, according to CBS News, in the year 2024. And we don't have all the data from 2025 yet, but 31 got killed. Why? Because drivers weren't doing what they're supposed to do. Miami-Dade County Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz said, "I think it's a key piece for safety for all law enforcement across this country. The reason it's a law is because we were already having a problem. In today's day and age where a lot of people are occupied with their phone in the car, that is also another distractor that has increased these kinds of accidents." So AAA studied a video of drivers passing roadside incidents. And the research found that 36% of drivers, nearly 4 in every 10, so about 4 in 10 or 36%, didn't follow the law. They didn't slow down and they didn't move over. And let's say there's a tow truck. They say only 58% of surveillance video complied with the law. So if there's, an issue, not only do you have to move for first responders, but if there's a tow truck or there's an accident or there's something going on and the cops haven't gotten there yet, you're still supposed to pass it slowly. You're supposed to make sure anybody that gets in there can get in there. And apparently people aren't doing it. But one also issue that I think is happening is we have a lot of individuals from other countries that don't necessarily know our laws. Because I'm driving to work and I'm seeing people not stop for the school bus with the stop. You're supposed to. The school bus has a stop sign that projects out from the side of the bus. There's all these lights and people are just driving like they don't care and they don't see it. How can you not see it? You're either full of it or you don't know the laws. Now, many European countries have laws similar to ours, where you need to slow down, move over to the right. But apparently in Mexico and other countries, they may not have the same type of laws as we do. And so this was one of the things I talked about with acclimation, where when people come to the country, like my family did, and they had to learn the language, and then they had to take the citizenship classes and then pass the test. During all that time, they learned how to acclimate. So they learned the laws of the land. They learned how to drive. They understood that there were things that needed to be done. Unfortunately, as it pertains to nowadays, there's no acclimation, there's no assimilation, and we're having this disaster. In terms of fines, we're being told by CBS News that the penalty for breaking these laws could be like $2,500 a fine. However, in Florida, we're being told it'd be $30. $30 for not slowing down and pulling over. And so what about those individuals who know the law? What is the psychology of it? Now, I am not the biggest goody two-shoes. Okay, trust me, I like my share of using the gas pedal when I need to. But when it comes to, first responders and their paramedics, I mean, I'm as goody two shoes as they come, because I understand there's somebody in there that could be coding, could be bleeding out. I mean, let them get to the nearby hospital. But one thing that I do notice is I'm on my way to work, I'm going, and then the paramedics are, shall we say, I think about to turn. And so I'm like, well, they're going to make a right turn. They're moving to the right. So I'm like, well, now I'm good. And so I keep driving. And I don't understand that the reason why they were moving to the right in the previous block was because these idiots didn't move over. They were in the left lane and the middle lane. So the ambulance is having to swerve around. Come on, man. Now, another thing, too, which we don't learn a lot in driver's ed with our driver's courses, is the whole tow truck, car pulled over to the side. So I had a patient who apparently was talking to his mom, saw that there was a car in need that needed help, had pulled over to the side. So he tells his Mom, I got to help somebody on the side of the road. I'll call you back. Well, that was the last she ever heard, because he pulls over, he gets out of his car, and another car was not expecting, I guess, him to open this door, and smashes right into him and kills him. And so I see people on the side of the road. I want to help. But it's one of the most dangerous things, because we are surrounded by drivers who don't pay attention. They don't care. Or they think, you know what? The paramedic's in one lane. I don't have to stop because he doesn't need my lane. Just pull the hell over. Come on. And so seeing that now these first responders are going to crack down, I think they should. I think people are being idiots. And I get it. Look, I like to speed. I like to try to talk myself out of tickets. It really kills me that I can't talk myself out of tickets like I used to. But, you are going to notice some cracking down of our rules. Understand that they're there for a reason. And if you are new to that state, how many times have we moved states and did we really look up any new laws? We're like, well, whatever it is in Arizona should be good here, or whatever the laws are in California, it should be good. No, understand, look up the laws, because you could get in a lot of trouble. So drive safe, move the hell over, slow down like you're supposed to. You'll get to work on time, I promise. And just come on. It's going to be worse if you get a ticket. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOCDALI. All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So some of you guys are licking your chops at being able to get the GLP-1 weight loss drugs cheaper. Now that Trump has negotiated with Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk is going to be launching the Trump RX website, which I'm really, really excited about. But some of you are not really prepared for what you might be venturing into as it pertains to these weight loss shots. And I told you guys, I may want to try it as well, not to lose weight because I don't think it's going to help me lose weight, but because I want to see what it does in terms of my gut microbiome and other things. I want to experiment a little bit, but I still can't afford it. So I'm not on it yet. But the issue that I'm seeing, which we've discussed a lot on this show, is the disappointment and the underwhelming that some people have had that they don't really understand, because they're looking at Oprah Winfrey. They're looking at Amy Schumer. They're looking at Meghan Trainor. They're looking at Lizzo. And they're like, wait a second. These guys look thin and they look amazing. Why aren't I looking like that? And I just had another patient who lost 20 pounds, which was 10% of her weight. And that's it. She's not losing any more. And she's like, I keep going up on the dose. I'm not losing any more. Why is Oprah skinny and I'm not? Well, it really depends on your body's makeup. It also depends on why you gained your weight to begin with. The reason why I don't think I'm going to lose weight on the medicine is because I don't have a large portion eating problem. How the medicine works is it makes you more satiated, so you feel more full. It also, for some, gets rid of the food noise, where you're not thinking about food, you're not fantasizing about food, you're not watching college football and then seeing the burger commercials and going, well, now I have to have a burger. Makes you want to drink less. And because it slows down the gut absorption and the motility, you end up feeling fuller longer. But if that's not why you're overweight, you're not going to go from a size, 14 to a size 2. And so I think a lot of people have to first realize why they're in the weight issue that they are. One thing I've talked about is how many of us who are athletic, we stop our athletics and then we look fat. Now, a lot of football players, ex-NFL players, you see them and they look big. They look, if your body was used to, these heavy workouts, hours and hours a day, multiple days a week, and then you're not doing that, there's going to be a rebound of your weight's going to deposit where it wants to. If you have the type of hormones or genetics, like in my family, where every woman looks like a butterball turkey, there's only a couple women who don't. And I was one of the women that didn't. And then all of a sudden I started to hit perimenopause in my 30s and boom, I gained the weight. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I ate less, worked out twice a day, didn't matter. And so if you have a genetic type of issue, you could starve yourself as much as you can, but it's not going to be a long-lasting weight loss. So those people who do really, really well on the GLP-1s are the ones where they have a private chef, somebody who can ensure that they are going to be eating healthy meals. They're having a balanced diet. They're exercising. They're keeping their muscle up. They have a trainer. Amy Schumer is rich. Oprah's rich. Right? These women are rich. They have a lot of access to resources to help keep that weight off. They're busy. But for those of us that are sitting in front of a computer working, sitting in a cubicle, watching Netflix, paying high prices for our gym membership, and we're hoping that the GLP-1 agonist is going to make us just all of a sudden melt all our weight off. No. As I told you, you can't just order prime rib from Outback Steakhouse, do your shot and say, Jesus, take the wheel. Let me eat this and not gain weight. It's not going to work out that way. Just like with the smoking cessation drug Chantix we spoke about. People have failed using that and some people have been successful. Well, who are the ones that have been successful on that? Well, how Chantix works to help you stop smoking. For those of you that want to stop smoking, can't wait. I think that's going to be awesome. Great New Year's resolution. But as I said, if it's too hard for you to quit cold turkey, then, start cutting back a half a pack a week or, baby steps. But how the Chantix medicine works is you start taking it 7 days before your quit date. And then you quit on day 8. And that medicine will have hopefully built up so that it is kind of a nicotine decoy. But what a lot of people do incorrectly is they smoke while on it for weeks or months, and then the body's like, wait a second. If that's the real nicotine, then who's this imposter? And then the body gets smart, and many people then they don't seem to do well, or they get side effects on it. But for those who do well on it, it's because they're like, look, I'm going to be quitting, but I don't want to Jones or go through urges, and I want to be able to not have withdrawals. So they use that medication while they're quitting cold turkey. Well, that's how you have to look at the Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, Zepbound, where you are going to eat right, you're going to cut your calories, you're going to exercise, but the shot is helping you with just that little extra bit of the cravings. But if you're doing it to be like, you know what, I don't like the size of my butt, I am just going to keep injecting myself and hoping I just don't miraculously get hungry, it's just not going to work. Now, I am noticing the average person is losing about 10 to 20 pounds, which is great. I think that's great. But if you remember, the average diet people go on, how much do they lose? Maybe 5-10% of their weight. We used to call that water weight. But with most diets, there's a certain amount that your body will be flexible with. And then all of a sudden, you now start getting to the harder fat. You now are getting to metabolism issues. And the individuals who are failing on these GLP-1s are the ones who are starving themselves, just telling themselves not to eat, maxing out on the shots. And then when the shot doesn't work and they're starting to get hungry, the weight is rebounding. Which means if you want to lose the weight and you're the type of person that's going to rebound, like if you ever crash dieted and you just blew right back up, then you might need to do the type of GLP style weight loss where you're just doing a little bit at a time, where, you're losing a pound here, 5 pounds here, slow and steady wins the race. But if you're the type of person that I could drop 30, 40 pounds and keep it off for a decade, well, then you might be able to do I'm going to go up from the 0.25 to the 0.5 to the 1. But whatever you do, make sure you are being supervised by a medical provider. Don't be borrowing your sister's medicine. Don't be, sitting there listening to, some celebrity or Instagrammer saying, well, every time you see a piece of chocolate cake, microdose. Because I'm telling you right now, your body is going to get used to this. Your body is going to, outsmart it because your body wants to eat. Let's say you were, I always bring up Survivor, where these people look super, super skinny right before the finale. And then the finale comes and they're all their same weight, if not more. The faster you lose the weight, if you don't let the body reset and learn, the faster it comes back. So like if you've ever had the stomach flu, right? You lose 5-10 pounds. You're like, wait a second. Wow, if I could just keep the weight off because you're feeling better. Well, as soon as you finish that sentence, the weight's back, because it's easier for the body to go back to your set point than to recalculate everything. The kidneys, the hypothalamus, the metabolism. It's much easier for you to just go back to your base. So you need to reset your baseline, which is why when you do hit plateaus in your weight, that's a good thing. Because then your body is learning to reset and learn your new weight. So if you were 200 pounds and now you're 180, you let your body learn and readjust to that 180. So that if you do lose another 5 pounds too quickly and you go back up, you only go back to 180 and not 200. All right, so I wish you luck in your weight loss journey. Talk to a medical provider. These GLP-1s could do a lot, but I don't want you to fail like I'm seeing so many other people fail. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. 1-877-DOC-DALI.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Let's face it, guys. We're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's Aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media.
Back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So 22 states are going to be raising their minimum wage this week. And so millions of American workers are going to get more money. So you would think that's a good thing. You would think, yay, yeehaw. Usually when people see these headlines, they're like, oh no. Oh boy, prices are going up. And the one thing that I've noticed in my how many decades I've been on this earth is every time we think we're helping workers, we end up not only screwing them, but screwing everybody else. And so when I see that minimum wage is rising, that is synonymous with prices are going to also go up. And it stinks because it's this vicious cycle. If people can't afford rent and house and food, we got to pay them more. But if we're paying workers more, we raise the prices. And so there's a lot of anxiety about what's happening now with cost of living and affordability. And the GOP needs to convince voters that the economy is improving. Inflation's down, gas prices down, a good majority of the groceries are going down, except beef is going up and chocolate's going up. Two things that I like. But overall, we're also seeing interest rates are going to fall and housing prices are dropping. So there's some positives. But if people are noticing that they go to a restaurant or they go to a hotel or they take a flight and it's going to be more money, they're going to blame the current administration. So seeing these, these minimum wage hikes, it's necessary because the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. We're being told that that $7.25 an hour is not budging. That has been unchanged since 2009. So we're going into 16 years. But what other states are doing is they're doing their own thing, which they can. And many of them, like Washington and California and New York, already legislated this. But they said as of each year, it's going to go up. I think Nevada did something similarly. So in 2026, the following states are going to be at this point in terms of minimum wage. So Arizona is going to be up at $15.15. California, $16.90. Colorado, $15.16 an hour. Connecticut, $16.94. Hawaii, $16. Maine, $15.10. Michigan, $13.73. Minnesota, $11.41. Missouri, $15 an hour. Montana, $10.85 an hour. Nebraska, $15 an hour. New Jersey has two facets. One is $15.92 if you have 6 or more employees. It's $15.23 an hour if you have fewer employees. New York City is at $17 an hour for New York City, Long Island, and Westchester County, $16 an hour for the rest of the state. Ohio, $11 an hour. Rhode Island, $16 an hour. South Dakota, $11.85 an hour. Vermont, $14.42 an hour. Virginia, $12.70 an hour. And Washington State, who has kind of led this cause probably since I could remember, they're at $17.17 an hour. Now, I've been to Washington. I've been to Seattle. It's expensive. I mean, things are expensive. So, Florida is also going to raise their wage. I think theirs goes up September 30th. And then they're going to be up to $15 an hour. So I don't think anybody could live on $7.25 an hour. We do need to increase minimum wage. But what every single business and corporation is doing is they're raising the prices as a result. They think if people are making more money, they'll have more money to spend. And if they have to pay more money, they'll just pass it on to the consumer. And so the idea that, well, the prices are going down under Trump, yes, there are things that he is able to get down, like look at our gas prices. But he's not going to be able to, handle the restaurants and the bars and the clothing stores. If they're paying their staff more, they're going to charge more. And unfortunately, when a corporation charges more, to pay more wages, they usually charge and then some. And they have every right to do that. Because the more you have to pay an employee, the more you have to pay for their Social Security and FICA and Medicare and all the other, and then the payroll tax and the workers' comp. Your workers' comp rate is based on what you pay. And so they are going to have to pay more overall. It's just, unfortunately, every time we raise the minimum wage, prices go up. And so what do? Well, we can't stop raising the minimum wage because we can't have people just living on $7 an hour. That just doesn't suffice anymore. But we got to figure out how to get the prices down. And this midterms is going to be possibly one of the hardest for the Republicans to remain in control of the House and the Senate. Probably the House more so because they have a affordability crisis caused by previous situations, COVID, Biden, etc. And they were expected within 11 months to fix it. And now that all these states are raising their minimum wages, so now just as the year's starting, as we're going into the midterms, minimum wage is going up and the prices are going to go up. So, I've been talking about this for years. We need to collectively tell these airlines, no, we're not going to be paying that much for a ridiculous, uncomfortable coach seat. We are grateful for you flying us safely. Whatever you are paying your pilots, pay them more. Some of them are making $500,000, but honestly, for them keeping us safe, it's worth it. Pay your flight attendants more, pay your mechanics more. That's great. But if you're going to charge me $700 for coach, domestic, no, we're not going to pay that anymore. We're not going to pay $22 for a salad at a restaurant. We're done with that. If it costs your restaurant too much to make a salad, then don't put that on the menu. Whatever happened to these restaurants where they only have a few items, like was it my cousin Vinny, where they have breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And that's what they're serving, and that's what they have. In fact, that's how it used to be in the pubs in the olden days. It's, what are you serving? Well, we got roast tonight, or we got a chili. That's all we have. If you want that, that's what we're serving you. Not this menu of 200 different items, and then they just raise the rates ridiculously. If it costs you that much, you could offer. That's why these pizza places can offer slices for a few bucks, because all they have to do is pizza. Make it simple. College tuition. If we say collectively, no, we're not going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for our kids' tuition. We're going to go where it doesn't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Eventually, as long as the government stops paying these colleges and institutions, the price will go down. But we need to be a united front. It's not cool to do certain things anymore. It's not cool. Society has changed, the way we do things. And we could very easily have society say, not cool for a $22 salad, a $700 coach ticket, a $200,000 nursing degree. No, that's not cool. Doesn't exist now. But the problem is you got the people that will spend. You have the individuals who will pay the higher prices. And look at what people are doing, spending the money they're doing on iPhones. You know how much it ticks me off that I upgrade a phone and my charger doesn't work and I have to buy a new charger? And I do it. Why don't all of us say, no, we don't want your new phone because you have a new charging. It's not going to happen because there's always going to be somebody going, I want that. And then everybody's going to be like, you know what? To hell with the crowd. But we're going to see prices go up this year. I'm not looking forward to that. It's going to be brought up. Everybody's going to be talking about it before the midterms. They're going to say now things are expensive. Everybody raised their rates. Well, they raised their rates because minimum wage went up. And they raised the rates because they're trying to make a profit before they have to go under because of AI taking over their jobs. Who knows? So I've been saying it for years. Let's work together on this. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOCDALI. We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOCDALI. So you're going to see media headlines that Trump is defying doctors' orders. And he's not listening to the doctors and doing whatever he wants with his health. And he misnamed a test he had. And I got to tell you, I have never seen a 79-year-old as spunky and energetic as he. So I'm not worried about his health, but he is a 79-year-old man that, can unfortunately, meet their maker like we all do. But I'm looking at what he said in this recent interview with the Wall Street Journal. And I had even clarified that I thought he was wrong about calling it an MRI. Remember, he had an exam looking at his heart and abdomen, and we don't usually MRI the heart or abdomen. You could. And that's why I was questioning it. I go, well, he is rich, and so maybe they're doing the fancy schmancy test on him. But if we're going to scan the heart and abdomen to look at CT calcium scores, which we've talked about on the show, it's a CAT scan. It's not an MRI. MRI uses magnetic resonance imaging. CAT scan is computerized. It uses radiation. And so with a CAT scan, it's cheaper, it's easier to do, it's much more common, and it works really, really well to look at the structures of the body, to screen cancer. And so he disclosed to the Wall Street Journal that when he had his physical exam in October, it was a CT scan and not an MRI. And that's what we had discussed in October, where I thought that's probably what he meant. But he said that he regretted undergoing the advanced imaging on his heart and abdomen because it raised public questions about his health. His physician said in a memo that the White House released, in December, that he had advanced imaging and he had called it an MRI, and he said he didn't know what part of the body he had scanned. So everybody made a big deal about that, saying he's turning into Biden. But it's my guess was he was having a CT calcium score, and then they were probably checking his abdomen to make sure there was no cancer. And sometimes people will have that as a part of a much more deeper screening. It's just not something that the USPSTF recommends for all of us to get. But he is the president of the United States, so he's probably going to get more screening. And I'm fine with that. But his doctor, Navy Captain Sean Barbarella, Barbabella, said that he underwent his exam in October, not because anything was wrong, but he already planned to be at Walter Reed to meet people working there. And he usually gets his physical in April. So they said, well, he's there, so we'll do a physical now. Whether you believe that or not. But my guess is they might have wanted to make sure that everything was good. And maybe Trump said, look, I've been through a lot of stress. I've been shot at. Can you take a look, make sure I'm not deteriorating faster or aging faster than I need to? So my guess is that this was something that was not usual and customary, but more as an extra precaution. And so his doctor, Barbabella, said President Trump agreed to meet with the staff and soldiers at Walter Reed Medical Hospital in October. In order to make the most of the president's time at the hospital, we recommend he undergo another routine physical exam to ensure continued optimal health. He asked the president to undergo either a CT or MRI to definitely rule out any cardiovascular issues, and the results were, quote, perfectly normal and revealed absolutely no abnormalities. And so, where people are now getting all kind of antsy is they think that this president that has been the most transparent about things, unlike Biden, is trying to hide something. So they're trying to catch, was there something going on with his prostate? Let the guy get his medical. He's the commander in chief. I wish Biden had more thorough medical imaging, including a scan of his brain. But Trump kind of regrets it. He says, in retrospect, it's too bad I took the test because it gave them a little ammunition. He said, I would have been a lot better off if they didn't, because the fact that I took it, it said, oh, gee, is something wrong? Well, nothing's wrong. See, I'm really surprised that Trump is saying that to the Wall Street Journal, because hasn't he learned by now the media is going to make mountains out of molehills on anything? And so unless he's being very savvy, because one thing that I thought Trump knows how to do is feed stuff to the media that distracts them so he could do bigger and better things. And who knows, maybe that was when Iran got attacked. I'm trying to think about the timeline. But let them all, like a piranha, jump all over the whole CT versus MRI gate while he gets other stuff done. Now, in terms of his aspirin, he takes 325 milligrams of aspirin daily. Now, this is not a basic recommendation. In fact, our recommendation for aspirin really depends on your cardiovascular risk. It depends if you have a GI bleed risk. And so we don't routinely recommend it except for secondary prevention. If you've had a previous cardiovascular issue, heart attack, stroke, bypass surgery, stent placement, if you are high risk and pregnant, and we think you're at risk for preeclampsia, we might put you on low-dose aspirin, high cardiovascular disease risk, but we usually don't recommend. In fact, the USPSTF recommends against people 60 or older taking daily aspirin. And we're not even talking about the 325, we're talking about the 81 milligrams. So the fact that he's taking 325 milligrams, but why? Now, I get this. This is what Trump is saying. He's been on it for years. He says he has been taking 325 milligrams of aspirin daily for 25 years, and he says he's a little superstitious. So he's probably thinking if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This guy has outlived gunshot wounds. He's outlived unbelievable stress. And here he is, 79 years old. He might be doing something right. Now, I'm not saying that 325 milligrams is the way to go. That increases the risk of bleeding. But he says, they say aspirin is good for thinning out the blood, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart. I want nice, thin blood pouring through my heart. Does that make sense? Well, it makes sense until you, God forbid, get into a car accident or something and you bleed easier. We do not want you to bleed easier. But anyway, they asked him about him looking like he fell asleep. He said, he was relaxing. He closed his eyes. He blinked. And that's what I was wondering. You could tell when Biden was asleep because his mouth was open. Somebody blinking, they catch a picture of you blinking and saying you're asleep. So that's yellow journalism. That's some BS journalism there. So I don't know if he fell asleep or not. But the man is 79 years old. He's got to take a nap sometime. I mean, I take naps, and I'm way younger than him. But, in terms of aspirin, I don't want people getting the wrong idea. Just because, Trump takes 325 milligrams of aspirin and he seems to be doing really well, that is, okay and a doctor recommended. It's not. We are concerned about high bleeding and risk. And if you aren't at high risk for cardiovascular disease, and if your medical provider does not want you to do that, follow what your medical provider says. Trump is kind of known for, giving his own medical advice. He's kind of a narcissist. I don't really see him always bowing to a doctor's expertise because he likes to give medical advice too. But he is doing something right. It's just the 325 milligram aspirin is not, I think, safe for the average person to take. And he is at risk for bleeding. But I do get, because I've had patients that say, look, I've been on this blood pressure medicine. It's working. I know there's newer stuff, but I don't want to make the change. And if that ain't broke, don't fix it sort of mentality is not foreign. I get that. And a lot of doctors do. So when somebody says, why is his doctor allowing him to do it? Well, as I said, I mean, if he's doing well and we're not finding complications with it, a doctor might be a little bit more flexible with that. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit, and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.